Holiday baking without gingerbread is unthinkable. So I'm giving my classic cookie dough a vibrant twist by pairing those beloved warm spices with fresh orange zest to create a cozy yet refreshing treat that'll have everyone asking for seconds. I start by grabbing my large mixing bowl, ready to combine all my dry ingredients. First, I add 3 cups of all-purpose flour for structure and balance. Next, 1 teaspoon of baking soda provides the perfect lift. Then, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt enhances the overall flavor. I sprinkle in 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon for a cozy warmth. 2 teaspoons of ground ginger follow, bringing a zesty kick. A 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves adds a deep aromatic flair. And a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg brings a sweet, nutty aroma. Finally, I whisk everything together until well combined, though you can sift these ingredients first if you want a super fine dough, and let those warm spices fill the air with holiday spirit. If you're worried about your cookies spreading, feel free to add a tablespoon of cornstarch for extra stability, but I personally skip it. Once they're nicely mixed, I just set the bowl aside to keep them out of the way. It might sound simple, but having them ready to go makes the rest of the recipe flow so much smoother. When I zest an orange, I first give it a good rinse and pat it dry. Before I get started, I put on a pair of disposable vinyl gloves. I like wearing gloves because they keep my hands free of that lingering citrus aroma, and they help maintain a clean, hygienic workspace. Then I grab my microplane or fine grater and gently run the orange across it, rotating as I go. I'm careful to remove only the thin, bright orange layer, known as the zest, because the white pith underneath can taste bitter. It doesn't take much pressure, just a light touch so those fragrant citrus oils end up exactly where I want them. And that's all there is to it. When I zest an orange, I first give it a good rinse and pat it dry. Before I get started, I put on a pair of disposable vinyl gloves. I like wearing gloves because they keep my hands free of that lingering citrus aroma, and they help maintain a clean, hygienic workspace. Then I grab my microplane or fine grater and gently run the orange across it, rotating as I go. I'm careful to remove only the thin, bright orange layer, known as the zest, because the white pith underneath can taste bitter. It doesn't take much pressure, just a light touch so those fragrant citrus oils end up exactly where I want them. And that's all there is to it. If you're looking for a healthier twist on this orange zest gingerbread cookie dough, I've got you covered. On my blog, I've shared a list of simple substitutions to make these cookies a bit lighter but just as delicious. Whether it's cutting back on sugar, swapping in whole wheat flour, or tweaking the butter for a healthier alternative, I've outlined all the options to fit your needs. You can customize this dough to suit your preferences without sacrificing any of that incredible flavor. Check out the full recipe and all the healthier swaps on my blog. The link is waiting for you in the description below. Because I'm planning to share these cookies with family and friends, I'm making a double batch in my video. However, all the measurements I mention here are for a standard single batch, so feel free to double them if you want extra cookies. In a medium bowl, I whisk 1 large egg. This helps form the base of the dough and binds everything together perfectly. Then I measure out 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and whisk it in. It adds a gentle sweetness and a comforting aroma. Next, I pour in half a cup of molasses. This deliciously dark syrup gives the dough that classic gingerbread flavor and rich color. Now I whisk wet ingredients together to quickly combine them and add a little air for an extra smooth texture. I find that a whisk makes the job easier and more efficient, but if I don't have one on hand, I just grab a fork. It might take a bit more effort, but it still does the trick when I'm in a pinch. Finally, I add the zest of 1 fresh orange. That bright citrus note is the perfect finishing touch. When I'm making a double batch of orange Zest Gingerbread Cookie Dough, my 7-quart KitchenAid mixer is a lifesaver. Its bowl lift design and larger capacity handle the thick dough effortlessly, making it perfect for big batches during holiday baking marathons. A tilt head mixer, while great for single batches, just doesn't have the power or room to handle a double batch without straining the motor or making a mess. If you're sticking to smaller quantities, a tilt head works beautifully, but for those larger batches, the 7-quart is the way to go. Here comes my favorite part: creaming the butter and sugar. First, I add 3/4 of a cup of softened unsalted butter to my trusty 7-quart KitchenAid mixer. Softened butter is essential here to achieve that perfect creamy texture. Next, in goes half a cup of packed brown sugar. The rich molasses in the brown sugar adds a depth of flavor that pairs beautifully with the spices in this dough. Using the paddle attachment, I cream the butter and sugar together on medium speed for about 2 to 3 minutes until the mixture is light and fluffy. This step is absolutely key to creating perfectly textured cookies, so don't rush it. Forgot to soften your butter? Don't panic. I've got you covered. Check out my How to Soften Butter. Quickly post for simple life-saving tips. This trick has saved me more times than I can count during busy holiday baking sessions. From a single batch of this orange Zest gingerbread cookie dough, you'll get about 24 cookies, depending on the size and shape of your cutters. I usually go for medium-sized shapes, which feel just right. Not too big, not too small. If you're cutting out tiny snowflakes or stars, you might end up with a few extras, but keep in mind that smaller cookies bake faster, so don't forget to adjust your oven time. And honestly, is there such a thing as too many cookies? I like to bake these in batches, keeping the extras in the freezer. So I always have some on hand for unexpected guests or those mid-afternoon cookie cravings. It's the perfect way to stay ahead of the holiday rush. Once the butter and sugar are perfectly creamed, I scrape down the sides of the bowl with a silicone spatula. Then I pour in the egg, molasses, and orange zest mixture and mix on medium speed until fully combined. The smell is pure holiday magic, a blend of warm spices and fresh citrus that'll make you want to bake all year long. I hope you're having as much fun making this orange zest gingerbread cookie dough as I am. If you're enjoying this recipe, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and tap the bell so you never miss out on my festive baking adventures. Do you have a favorite gingerbread recipe that's become a staple in your holiday traditions? Maybe it's a classic recipe passed down in your family, or a unique flavor twist you've tried. Share it with me in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories and keep the gingerbread magic going. On this channel, I love sharing the joy of baking and food photography with all of you. Whether it's capturing picture-perfect cookies or experimenting with new recipes, my goal is to inspire you to create something delicious and memorable. Thanks for rolling out this holiday magic with me. Let's bake some festive masterpieces together. Time to bring it all together. Gradually, I add the dry ingredients to the wet mixture, about a third at a time, keeping the mixer on low speed. Trust me, keeping it slow and steady is the key to avoiding the dreaded flour explosion. Been there, done that, and my kitchen looked like a snowstorm hit. If you've ever spent 20 minutes cleaning flour off every surface, you know this tip is worth following. As the dough starts to come together, I keep an eye on the consistency. The perfect dough should be smooth and slightly firm, but still pliable, kind of like Play-Doh but less sticky. If the dough feels too dry and crumbly, don't panic, it's an easy fix. Add a teaspoon of milk or water at a time while mixing until it holds together. On the other hand, if the dough is too sticky, sprinkle in a tablespoon of flour and mix gently until it firms up. It's all about finding that Goldilocks balance. Not too dry, not too wet, but just right. Here's another trick I love. Stop the mixer midway through and give the dough a quick check with your hands. It's the best way to feel if it's holding together correctly. Plus, you get a sneak peek at that heavenly gingerbread aroma that'll soon fill your kitchen. Once the dough reaches the perfect consistency, I stop mixing immediately. Overmixing can make the cookies tough, and nobody wants that. Remember, gingerbread dough is all about balance. Smooth, flavorful, and ready to roll, literally, into your holiday baking dreams. Here's my little holiday survival secret. I don't try to do everything at once. Nope, I've learned the hard way that holiday baking can quickly turn into chaos if you don't pace yourself. So here's my trick. I pre-make and freeze the dough months ahead. Yes, months. This orange zest gingerbread cookie dough freezes beautifully for up to 3 months, neatly labeled and ready to go. Then I bake the cookies in batches and freeze them too. They hold up perfectly and are like little blank canvases waiting for some holiday magic A week before the big celebrations, I thaw them out and decorate like crazy. This way, I can actually enjoy the decorating process without the stress of the oven timer looming over me. It's a total game changer and keeps me feeling like a holiday pro, even when the calendar is packed. When the dough is ready, smooth and firm, it's time to wrestle it off the paddle attachment. It clings like it never wants to leave, but a trusty silicone spatula and a few taps on the bowl usually do the trick. And yes, a little taste testing is totally allowed. Quality control, after all. Next, I lay a sheet of food wrap flat on the counter. It's like prepping a tiny stage for our dough. I scoop some dough onto the center, then loosely fold the wrap over it and shape it into a flat disc. This method keeps things mess-free and quick, but if you prefer, you can shape the disc first and then wrap it. Either way works like a charm. For a single batch, you'll end up with 2 to 3 discs, while a double batch will give you 4 to 5. Once everything is wrapped, it's ready for the fridge. Let the dough chill for at least an hour to firm up. If you're planning to freeze it for later, add an extra layer of foil or place the discs in a freezer-safe bag. Don't forget to label them neatly with the dough, name, and date. Thanks, trusty Sharpie, before they go into hibernation for up to 3 months. To bake these orange Zest Gingerbread cookies, start by preheating your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and lining your baking sheets with parchment paper. Roll out your chilled dough on a floured surface to about 1/4 inch thickness. Then use your favorite cookie cutters to create shapes. Place the cutouts onto the prepared baking sheets, leaving a little space between each cookie. Bake the cookies for 8 to 10 minutes, depending on the size of your cutouts. Keep an eye on them. The edges should be firm, but not browned. Once done, remove the cookies from the oven and let them cool on the baking sheet for a few minutes before transferring them to a wire rack to cool completely. Now, if you're thinking, will my cookies keep their cute shape or turn into blobs? Don't worry. I will show you in detail how to nail this in my other video, spilling all my secrets for baking perfectly shaped cookies that won't betray your hard work. No more mystery blobs on your baking tray, I promise. And there you have it, my orange Zest Gingerbread Cookie Dough recipe. This zesty citrus twist on a beloved holiday classic is sure to become the star of your baking season. Whether you're whipping up treats for a festive cookie swap, packaging heartfelt gifts for loved ones, or simply indulging in the pure joy of holiday baking, these cookies will bring a little extra sparkle to the season. If you're feeling adventurous and want to explore more gingerbread possibilities, you're in luck. I've put together a gingerbread cookie dough playlist filled with all my favorite recipes, from the traditional classics to creative spins that add unexpected flavors and flair. It's a treasure trove of gingerbread goodness to inspire your holiday baking. So be sure to check it out. Happy baking, my friend. I can't wait to see the cookie creations you come up with, so don't forget to share them with me. I love seeing how your bakes turn out. And if you're not quite ready to branch out into new gingerbread flavors just yet, that's perfectly fine. In my next video, I'll show you how to make my classic gingerbread dough. It's a holiday staple in my house that never fails to impress. I'll see you there.